All right, everybody, we're back here one more time again. We're going to do it again and again and again and again and again. Dixie Doggers Podcast. We're back out here. We're at the Dog Pound one more time. We got a guest today, and I don't know him. You know, this will be the first time I've actually talked to him, but I have watched so many videos and stuff. I feel like I know him.
Yeah.
I wish I had a higher pitch where I could imitate how he talks to that catch dog. I loved it. I loved it. The first time, man, I was like, listen to this. Because like me, I'm the same way. I'll start hollering. I got my own little hollers. A lot of us do. So, he's the main man with the plan down in the flatland in Florida. So, without further ado, we got Mr. Seth with Borrowed Time Outdoors. So tell us about you.
Yeah, we'll start off with appreciate you guys having us on here and letting us chat. My name is Seth, like you said, Seth Patterson. We're down here in Central Florida, down in little old Sebring.
Mm-hmm.
We just love to do some hunting. We own a guiding outfit down here, and so I retired at about 24 years old, and now we just get to hunt for a living. So I enjoy doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What'd you retire from?
So I was in construction, and got into property management. If we want to go way back, I used to fish professionally for a living.
Okay.
And COVID shut that down, so we got out of that and had to get a real job. So got into property management. And then when that kind of decided, we started a deer farming business, and then we kind of went into hunts from there. So we've been blessed individuals for sure. So
that's awesome.
We still have to work some. We own a couple other little companies, but yeah, our main thing we love to do is get people in the woods. So.
Well, if you're swinging them big 300-pound hogs around, that's a lot of work to that.
Yeah, I don't ever swing any of them. My back doesn't like it, but we got somebody else to grab them. That's why I just film and let them do all the grabbing there. So.
Well, hey, wait a minute. That's kind of what Nate does. Wait a minute. So I see what's happening. So
it's easier that way.
I imagine so. But see, it's hard being pretty, and I have to be on the camera all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard job.
True, yeah, man. I completely understand. Yeah.
So, man, on the, like you said, you got the guided guide service and stuff. Is hog hunting? Is that the only thing you guys do, or what all kind of hunts do you offer?
Yeah, so we do guided hog hunts, we do guided turkey hunts, we do guided deer hunts, and we do guided alligator hunts. We're working on a high fence preserve, which might not sit right with everybody, but we're working on a high fence preserve right now. We'll sell giant whitetails that come out of our deer farm, exotics, all that fun stuff. So pretty much the only thing we don't mess with is snakes, because they scare me to death. We haven't got into shooting those iguanas yet either, but they're not this far north yet. So
yeah, I was going to ask you if they were up that far or whatever. No,
it's too cold. They're over on the coast. It gets a little too cold inland for them, and that's perfectly fine with me.
Now, since you're a guide and you also do the turkey and the deer hunting as well as the hog hunting, I just want to ask you your opinions on running dogs and the effect on the deer movement and the turkey movement, and your experience with guiding, or have you encountered anything like that?
So that's a great question. I personally think it's a bunch of hocus. If you have dogs that are running deer, then that could have a bad effect on the deer.
Sure. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't go hog hunting a Friday night, the same tree stand I want to sit, Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. But I killed the biggest buck of my life last year. We hog hunted, like a Wednesday night on the range, and I killed him Saturday morning. So, as long as your dogs aren't messing with the deer, I've never had an issue with it. A lot of leases around here, but when deer kicks off, they don't ever want to see a dog after that.
Yeah. It's like that everywhere, I think,
Now, what about with the turkey? Have you had the same experience with the turkey?
So our turkeys are a little higher price hunt, so we don't mess with them as much. If I'm honest with you, I don't typically run dogs around that place, but we turkey hunt a lot of ranches that aren't ours as well, and we have permission to hunt a couple different places as well. So, we only kill about 4 birds a year off of our ranch, and then it's kind of free game after that. So we run dogs, just all that fun stuff after that. So we do dog hunts, thermal hunts, and spot and stalks for hogs. So we try to get anybody out any way they want to have a good time.
Yeah. Well, while we're on that subject, whatever, if you want to tell the listeners how to get in touch with you, your contact info or whatever, go ahead and then, I mean, Nate can put a link.
Yeah, I'll link it down in the description below
when we get done with it. So that way, if somebody's listening, they might want to come knock old Gobbler out or a whitetail or something beside, and catch a pig.
Yeah. So sorry, I wasn't trying to do a plug on our business.
No, listen, that's what we're for. That's the way I look at it, because there's so many podcasts and videos and stuff like that, and everybody feels like, well, if you use it, for business, then it's, like, oh, you got to pay. Like, look, we're doing this. Yeah. You're paying by talking, and we have guests. So the way I look at it is, hey, this is an ad for you because you already did an ad for us. Yeah. We're just working with each other.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, you can check us out. My main page on Instagram is Boars Time Outdoors. Same on YouTube. And then our outfitter's name is S&R Outfitters. You can check us out on Facebook or just shoot me a DM on Instagram, and we can give everybody the information that's needed. But yeah, we right here in Sebring, Florida. So we're like super inland. We're an hour and a half, 2 hours from everywhere you want to be in Florida. So it's the actual Florida, not the palm trees and beaches. It's the woods and the pretty stuff over here.
Nice.
Sweet.
I know some of the videos, like I said, I seen where y'all were in these pastures and stuff, and I said, that just doesn't look like the coastal area or nothing. It looks like a ranch, like a farm. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we're pretty. We're about as inland as you can get up here. We're in Highlands County, so one of the higher places in Florida here, and we're blessed for it to be kind of open. Like I know where you guys are. A lot of guys up North Florida and stuff, South Georgia. Those guys, it gets thick up there.
Yeah.
But we're pretty open. It just gets wet. It gets real wet. We got some thick bay heads, but for the most part, we can film pretty well because it's pretty open. So
yeah, it's pretty thick here in areas. We got some places that are further south, closer to Florida, and they'll open up. You'll have farmland and some river bottoms, and then it'll go into like the Delta area, but now like where we actually live at, we have a lot of hills where the Appalachian Mountains start in the foothills.
Okay.
Cool. So it's pretty cool because I can drive 45 minutes to an hour south and be just flat level ground. And then I can drive 45 minutes north and be on a mountain.
That's awesome.
And where we're at, it's just, it's kind of a mix. It's not mountains, but like there's a few of these hills that are, 1,000 feet in elevation, and that'll wear you out.
Oh yeah,
running dogs up and down the hills, so
it's just enough to give you a taste. It ain't super rough.
Yeah, we went to North Carolina on a bear hunt, and they've got mountains. We got hills, they got mountains.
You better love them if you want. You better love them.
That's it. So what kind of dogs you run? We were talking a little bit about it before we started recording. Yeah. So what kind of dogs do you run?
So I've got my lead dog is Old Trouble. He's a big leopard Catahoula, and I had him. He's dang near 4 now. And then I would say his helping buddy in crime would be Bear. He's a black and tan cur dog. And then I've got a little Catahoula puppy in training. And then my catch dog's just a little pit bull. He's not an official game breed pit, but he really resembles the smaller stature game breed pit. So like what we were talking earlier, I've never been one of the guys that has 10, 15 head of dogs. We kind of I've been blessed to keep those dogs alive. Blessed and fortunate, and spent a bunch of money to keep those two running around. But I've had those hog dogs ever since I really got back into hog hunting again. I've had those two guys, and I've tried to grow some puppies up with them too, but it just never worked out.
Yeah.
So hopefully this guy I've got now will be the next all-star because they're getting older.
Do you like more of a looser bay dog? So you guys tie your hogs, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay, so do you like a looser style bay dog, or do you want something that's a little rougher, or what?
Yeah, both of my dogs are pretty rough. Trouble was a lot rougher. We got in a really bad spot one time, and he got his eye cut and actually ended up going blind in his right eye. Ever since then, he's backed up a little bit more. But that joke used to, he won't catch a 30 hog. He'll pay a 30, 40-pound hog.
Yeah.
He'll sit one down, work it he's the best bay dog I've ever, that we run around with.
Yeah.
And And so he's real gritty. Bear's the same way. Bear's a little bit more catchy than Trouble is. So when a lot of these places we hunt, our friends have huge ranches, so we love to run dogs at bay. I'm not big on bay dogs catching because they'll end up being, you guys know, they'll be 5-6 miles away from you. It takes you an hour to get over to them, and
that's right.
And get injured, and you have to put them back together, and they got to heal up, and it's a whole effect.
I've talked to several guys out in certain areas of Texas and Oklahoma as well, and they don't mind the real super rough dogs, but a lot of it's because they're right on top of them. Yeah, and I don't mean that. I'm not trying to talk trash or take away from the dog or none of that, because these dogs are phenomenal at their job.
Yeah,
I mean, if you ask me, you take one cur dog, that, big old yellow dog, and he's handling a 220, 250 pound hog by himself. He's a stud, he's all there. So they just have a different style of hunting than we do. And a lot of the guys, they'll ride around, they're checking feeders, they're taking care of these ranches that make their living off of the big whitetails, exotics, stuff like that. And so you've got to have something that works for you. And it just doesn't. I used to run a lot of real rough dogs. Most of mine were just running catch dogs. But like you said, they get way out of pocket, man, and they get hurt. And you got to get to them.
And our problem is it's so hot. So dog's caught even if a dog's caught for 10 minutes, he's got the hog hung there for 10 minutes. I've had Bear almost have 2 heat strokes on me. So he's kind of gotten smarter, the older he gets, and he'll let go. But then when he was young, he wouldn't let go. He would just give up. He'd rather die than let go. So, there's some guys that do that around here. They've got running catch dogs, or they call them just little puddle hopping dogs. They have their dog boxes rigged up. They pull a wire and it dumps, and they'll have them in their truck, and they'll be running 45, 50 miles an hour across the pasture.
Kind of like coyote hounds.
Yeah, they dump those hogs or the dogs right on the hog's butt, and they just catch them in it. Sometimes that's a lot quicker. Like we've got guys that hunt groves where they say, "Hey, I don't want a dog that's going to run a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. If it's 500 yards and he gets burnt, I want him to come right back because if I'm chasing that dog for 3 miles and then that takes an hour out of my night. I got to go over here and back and forth. So, everybody hunts different kind of deal. Yeah, so my dogs are less rangy the older they get. They're just they're getting some to them. So
now your catch dog. Now, is that the one that you've had him for how long? How old is he?
Oh, Obi's he's younger than he's probably 3.
Yeah, that's the one I seen in the first video. And you were actually trained. You had just got him, I think. You were just starting him, and I was watching. I think he went in there and caught and got shook, and then it took like 2 or 3 times, but he finally got him. You know what I mean? He didn't give up, and I was like, that little pup will make it, And I didn't know how old he was. Now I just kind of my own curiosity there.
Yeah, I think he's probably closer to 3 now. One of my buddies, we grew up together. We fished a bunch of tournaments together. When I got back into hog hunting, he did too, and he got 2 dogs. Thinking somebody told him that Obi was a cur dog, and so he thought Obi was going to be a bay dog. And I found out pretty early, like, hey, buddy, that's not a cur dog by no means. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we continued to hog hunt, and he kind of got out of it. So I got Obi from him, and then turned him into my catch dog. He's a great little dog. I mean, he walks with me until I tell him to catch, and he handles super well. So, and he's little. He's only like 50 pounds, maybe.
Yeah.
So I feed him extra to make sure he's good and fat. And, don't have to run but 50 feet. So
there you go.
Some more weight on him. He's big and healthy. He's not missing any meals for sure because he's so small. But yeah, he's a great little dog.
Awesome. Because there's, where you're at if a lot of people with the bigger catch dogs, I imagine the heat's really, really hard on them.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, why don't you use like Go-Go's or something like that? Or I'm like, well, I don't want to fight that thing.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot of dogs.
we get a 150-pound dog that decides, all our dogs do it. They decide they don't want to listen for 2 minutes or something. Yeah. And now you're fighting another grown adult trying to getting stuff squared away. And so I like Obi. He's small. He listens well.
Yeah,
and, he might not catch it every time perfect, but he's got heart. I've never seen him bark. So.
Thank you for being honest about that, because there's so many that will
so prideful.
They'll be like, my dog has never missed. He, blah blah blah, and all this.
He's never had to regrip.
You've never seen him do that,
No.
maybe. But if he's been on many, there's been times where he's got shook a little bit, or he might have missed, or had to get another bite and hang on. As long as he didn't just quit, I think you're doing good. I like for mine to just, like you said, to have the heart and the drive.
Yeah. I've never seen him bark, but I've definitely seen him miss, or he gets excited, he runs in there like a freight train, hits it 50 miles an hour, and doesn't know what to hit. So I try to. That's one of the things that really helps me with slowing him down and teaching him to walk in with me, because just turn him loose from the buggy or the side by side or whatever, he would just get so excited he'd just come running in there wide open. And so me walking him in with him, walking him in next to me and getting him calm, and then, okay, go catch him. And then that's really helped me out a lot with him not missing as much. And he still does. I mean, he's a 50-pound dog. If you put a 50-pound dog on a 350-pound bar or something, he's just holding on for dear life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a lot for him to handle. So exactly. What got you started into the running dogs, or have you always done it?
So we did it when we were younger, and then I got out of it to fish a lot. We started fishing a lot, and I thought I was going to be a professional bass fisherman, and God has different plans for us. But so we got out of that, and then when I got out of fishing, I got back into running dogs. I went with some buddies, didn't have any dogs, and then I went with some buddies and just got hooked back into it big time. And I was smart enough to just get one dog to get him started, and that was Bear. And once I got Bear started, he was almost 8-9 months old. I got Trouble, and actually I got brothers, Bear and his brother, and we had a freak accident. He ended up passing away as a young puppy. So I ended up with just Bear, and then which was a diamond in the rough, because I ended up getting Trouble, and he's the best dog I'll ever own. He's getting some age to him now, but when he was younger, he was a beast. But so I got those two dogs, and I haven't looked back since. We don't get to hog hunt as much as we used to, just because life gets busier the older we get. But I still get out as much as I can.
That's, and it's kind of crazy to hear everybody's. Since we've been doing this, you get to hear so many people's different, the reasons that they started. It's funny because it's almost, I would say, almost a 50-50 thing now, to where people were raised doing it. Yeah. And then and like I said, it's probably nearly half of people who they weren't from a dog hunting family.
Yeah.
I just think that's kind of, it's great. Now, don't get me wrong. That's great. Yeah. Because when I was growing up, when I was younger, it was probably 80% that was raised in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, if other people came into it later, but almost everybody that done it was from a family that hunted of some sort. Maybe not with dogs, but they actually hunted.
Yes, sir.
And so now it's like there's people who never still hunted. They start out with dogs, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, my family owned a ranch. I remember going with my cousins when we were little farts, but my dad never really hunted. My dad's from Indiana, so he never really hunted a whole lot growing up. My mom's from Central Florida, here where we are now. Mm-hmm. And so I remember being a little guy going in and running through the middle of a bayhead and stuff, and it was always fun. But I got into fishing more and got out of it. It just took a good trip with some buddies to get me hooked back into it. So,
I'm glad you got back into it, man. We got somebody. We got good people in the hog hunting community. The majority is good people.
Yeah. So, there's it's about 50-50 down here. But I think a lot of the people getting into hog, we see a lot of the younger generation getting in, and like what we were talking about, a lot of people ask questions. I think it's also a cool thing now, and so everybody. Unfortunately, we get a lot of kids that don't have anywhere to go, and they get 4 or 5 dogs and just assume people are going to take them and all that kind of stuff. You get a little bit of both, but for the most part, it's good.
Now, and on that, let's get on that right there just a little bit. Like you just said, there's kids that go get these dogs and do all this stuff, and they assume somebody's going to take them.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of stand on that? And I mean, and you don't have to, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. You can do whatever, because, like, I mean, I'm always one of those that I was from a family that hunted a lot. I got out of it for many, many years, and then, got back with the dogs, and that's all I do.
Yes, sir.
So I couldn't imagine my kids being, 15 to 20 years old and wanting to do it, and nobody taking them.
Yeah, yeah.
We had people that would help us when I was younger, but it was very few. You had to know them. You had to know them, or they had to know your family. And so you have a lot of the generations that are my age and older. They're 40, 50, 60 years old or older, and all they do is complain.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them. They complain, but they're not doing anything to help it.
Yeah.
And so, for sure. Like we're doing this Shankathon tournament, and instead of having a 5-man team with however many helpers, you can have all the helpers you want. It doesn't cost anything as long as they're under 16 years of age.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody's like, well, what about so-and-so? Hey, look, you need to take some of these youngsters hunting.
For sure.
That's the incentive. If you can't do that, then, hey, you can't do it
on your own. Then.
Do it on your own. So I was just curious, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I've got mixed emotions on all that. I think if you don't have a place to go hog hunting, and I've had a lot of conversations with younger guys, we've been blessed. I can't say everybody's got thousands of acres to hog hunt or just to hunt in general, or, born into a family that's got places to go. But I don't think it's right for you to get dogs to just let them rot away in a pen because you're assuming somebody's going to take you.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on board of taking people if we can. But at the same time, like a lot of these kids we see, they just see it. They went one time with a buddy. So they go ahead and they get 4 dogs off of Facebook that somebody's getting rid of, and then they just assume somebody's going to take them, or they bring their dogs with them when they necessarily shouldn't. You really got to, like I said, I had some buddies that were good buddies of mine. We went hog hunting, and then I got a dog, and because we own property as well, so I could have places to go. I feel like it turns into a bad thing with a lot of people are poaching because they're like, well, I've got my dogs and I've got to do something with them. So I'm going to go run the state park or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see that I see that as a problem even here.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of public land, but that we can hunt, but it's an issue.
Exactly. Florida doesn't have. We are very, very shy on public land. So I've always seen it as like a private landowner's perspective of like, hey, if you don't have any property, don't go on somebody else's.
Yeah. Without
and
doubt.
That's how I've always seen it. And I understand I've had good conversations with people who are like, hey, well, we just don't physically have anywhere to hunt. And we are so passionate about hunting and we would love to do it, but we just don't have anywhere to hunt. So the only thing we can do is poach. I'm like, well, I'm not here to correct you. Like, it's just, I wouldn't do it. And I'm not any better than you guys. We've just been blessed to be born into the right family. If I didn't have places to hunt, would I poach? That might be a different story. I probably will hunt public land or something. So I understand both sides of things. I love getting kids into the woods. We did a hog hunting giveaway, and a 14-year-old kid won it. Can't wait to take him and his dad out. We're going to have a blast. But, for people to get dogs and then just pin them in hopes that somebody will take them, or I talked to a younger kid the other day. He's like, I got 50 acres. I got dogs. I'm like, let's logically think about 50 acres and dogs.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be your killjoy, but your dogs, if they like a hog, it's going to take them about 0.1 second to get off of, off of 50 acres. So, you could get lucky and have a feeder in the middle and catch some hogs on 50 acres. You never know. But, yeah, I'm all for getting.
You could, but
it'd
be tough.
Yeah.
To be consistent, you never could be consistent with it.
Yeah, I've heard some people say, I got enough land to drop.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know people that, like you said, they'll have 50 acres, but they're hunting 2,000.
Exactly. Where they end up isn't my problem after that kind of deal, so.
And it's one of those, like you said, everybody, we as hunters, we all want to see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But as regular, normal working class, everyday guys that work for our own stuff and have our own property and our own land, we also see it from that perspective. It's like, look, just because you want to don't mean you get to.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
want to be a billionaire tomorrow, but I'm not going to go rob a bank to get there. So
that's right.
It's just one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm very strong on the non-poaching side of things. I understand people have to do it, or they don't have to do it. People choose to do it. But that's just because I grew up on the other side, and so I'd be like, "Oh, well, you're a snob because you've never had to do that." And it is what it is. And like I said, we're blessed. I'm not ever going to take that for granted. But yeah, getting kids in the outdoors, I love it. But I love to talk to younger guys and say, hey, make sure you've got a group of buddies that have a bunch, have a place to go, have dogs, go with them 10 or 15 times. If they're not your good buddies, become really good friends with these guys, and then say, hey, do y'all care if I get a puppy and I start bringing them with you guys? And then, leave it up to them. Because at the end of the day, puppies are a pain in the butt. Going to be with these people, so you need to respect the hunters that you're going with if you don't have a place to go. And if they say, hey, don't bring your puppy this evening, then don't bring your puppy. It's part of those things. You can find a place to work with your dog. And then instead of just jumping into it and getting 6 or 7 dogs, just get one and start with one and build a relationship with that one dog. Get him as best as you think you can at his age, and then get another one from there, So that's kind of how we look at it. But
well, I know we went to the Abbeville Wild Hog Festival this past weekend.
Yes, sir.
And it was in Georgia. And, man, there was a crowd. I mean, phenomenal crowd.
I think there was 7,000.
Yeah, that's what they said, estimated 7,000. And, I mean, I don't know if it was quite that many, but there was a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of really young guys. And when I say young, I mean 14 to 18 that had dogs. Yeah. And I talked to a bunch of them. And, and I'm honored that that they even consider me someone to look up to. And so they were asking me some questions, and that really was one of the main things that kept coming up. Most of them were from Florida.
Yep.
And they were talking about having dogs and not having a place to run them. There's a young man, and he said he's listening to all the podcasts. His name is Noah Smith. And him and his buddy Hunter, Noah went with Hunter before he ever got dogs. He went he did the process. He's still doing the process.
Yeah,
It's working out for him, and they're starting to put stuff together. They're catching good hogs. They're catching big hogs. And I just wanted to throw that out there. And Noah, if you're listening, hey, buddy, you heard it right here from all of us. You're on the right track. Just keep it up, man. You and Hunter, y'all doing good. Just don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't worry about trying to poach. It'll come to you. It just takes a little time. So,
it's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's a stupid hog. And
it's a hog. Yeah.
Don't ruin your life over catching a hog. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to get caught somewhere you're not supposed to be, and the landowner be really upset. Press all the charges they can. Yeah,
because there's some landowners that will. I mean, they're not going to put up with it.
No.
Because they've probably dealt with it a bunch in the past, and they're going to make an example out of somebody.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's not worth it.
No, it is not. And I mean, I've lost friends over this stuff, and I mean over nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because and it's crazy because as soon as somebody starts hog hunting with dogs, or if they're doing thermals or whatever, as soon as it's something new to them, that first year they lose their mind.
Yeah.
They can't wait. Like if we say, hey, we're going to go hunt Saturday and Sunday or something, or Friday and Saturday. Well, they're going to go slip down there Tuesday and Wednesday, and they're like, well, man, I just couldn't wait. And I'm like, well, why are you going over on my spots? Well, I don't have spots. Well, maybe you need to wait,
Exactly.
Same thing. So, I don't think that it'll ever really change a whole lot. I think it's just something that we'll have to deal with.
Well, there's going to be dumb dickheads and everything.
Yep.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Somebody's got to ruin it for everybody. It don't matter what it is.
That's right. So what made you want to get started with the borrowed time outdoor? If I cut you off, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish what you said.
No, you're good. Yeah. So, we got started in borrowed time outdoors. Like when I was fishing a bunch, I would film everything. I've always loved to be on camera, I guess, and I just enjoy filming everything. That's what hurts me so much about YouTube. Deleted me so many different times because I just enjoy making videos. I'm not the best editor in the world, but I just love to take people on the journeys that we get to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So I filmed a lot, fishing a lot of bass fishing tournaments, filmed a lot of my tournaments, did all that stuff. And then when I stopped bass fishing a whole lot, we just kind of jumped into to filming all of our hog hunting and deer hunting and turkey hunting, all that stuff as well. So it kind of just rolled in from fishing to hunting, and we try to mix it up as much as we can now. There for a while, it was like you said, I was nuts for the first couple of years. The only thing I did was just ran dogs, and now I've realized to get to a bigger audience, we kind of got to mix and match some stuff as well. But so that's kind of how we started social media and doing that. So we've been in the social media game for quite a while now. I would say we started probably taking it serious, like you guys were saying with your podcast, in the last year or so. Once our YouTube was doing really good and it got deleted, I think we're up to, I don't know, almost 30,000 subs or something.
It just knocks the wind out of you, man. It just,
because
you work so hard, you're like, and then you got to start over.
Exactly. And I've done it 4 times now. So,
oh no, 4 times.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I've just pissed in somebody's Cheerios. And
listen, like Boars N Broads, those guys have got it. Justin Becker, we've went through it. Like we went for years, had a channel, 10 or 12 years since Facebook came out. Because of course I'm old, and then like as soon as we started getting some notoriety and we were getting the clicks and the views, bam, take you down.
Yeah. Well, Charles got deleted for bay pen videos.
Yeah,
they hate a bay pen video.
They hate that.
Yeah,
I never had a hunting video taken down. Only bay pen.
No,
videos.
we had some hunting videos that were one or two should not have even been on there.
They was some like 2012 GoPro footage. Yeah. I'm glad it was 720p. You couldn't see as much guts.
Yeah, it's like there was there'd be spurts that would cover the whole camera.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, but they didn't hit us for that.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like you said, it's almost like you just pissed in somebody's Cheerios and just like, but you don't know who it is or what you done.
And then that's the thing. Me and Justin were kind of coming up together. So I talked to Justin a lot from Not Normal Adventures, and I got struck like a week before he did. It was one Friday night. My phone email notification went off, rolled over and grabbed my phone and said, your YouTube channel's been deleted. And we were just starting to make some decent money. We filmed like a big 50 cal video shooting hogs, and we had the hog hunt tournament video, which was like 45 minutes long, and it was like almost at 1 million views.
That's the first video I've ever watched. I can honestly say that was over probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I sit and watched the whole thing.
Yeah, we got a lot of really good feedback from that video.
Yeah, it was interesting. You had just enough to keep you there, even when the moments where wasn't a whole lot happening, there was still enough to keep you interested.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, was good.
First one. That's the first one we filmed of that tournament. I mean, it's the first time we'd ever hunted it, and so that video was doing really good. And then I just rolled over, and they just said, "Hey, your YouTube channel's been deleted." And I remember like hours trying to figure out how do I communicate to somebody, and just kind of get an explanation. And then, hey, okay, when I start again next time, at least I'll know. Hey, don't do these 5 things or whatever. And they would talk to you. Same thing with Justin. If you talk to Justin, it's that they're so openly vague on purpose. So anyway, we can, and so then ever since then, I started another channel, had like 15,000 or 1,500 subs, and it just got deleted randomly. Then I had one, I wasn't posting as much just because, like you said, it knocks the wind out of your sails when you've been deleted 3 times. So I just recently started another one, and I've told everybody, if this one gets deleted, it is what it is. We're done. They're just looking for me at this point. So Justin started a new one. His is doing good. We've been trying
to push his as much as we can.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know yours had got deleted.
Yep.
Man, I hate that. Like we'll definitely make sure that I know I'm subscribed. I got to be.
Well, you're probably not subscribed anymore.
I was going to say not anymore. I know I was to the other one. Well, I got to get on there and make sure. I could have. I don't know. I'm old.
Yeah, hey, it happens. I'm getting old too. I'm gonna be 25 this year. I'm feeling it in my hips and my knees.
I'll be 26 or 7, somewhere in there.
I'll be 24 this year.
Yeah. Now you'll be 24. He's my son. I'll be 26.
Yeah.
So whatever makes me feel good, that's how it is.
Exactly.
So, with the talking about the social media stuff, that we kind of rolled right into that one there. What on the platforms that you have, which one are you liking the most right now, getting the best out of, or getting the most out of?
Yeah, our biggest platform would be Instagram. Mm-hmm. And so, up until like 2 weeks ago, me and Instagram had never really I mean, they won't ever let us be monetized, and it is what it is. But we had never had any issues, and I actually just made a story about this on my Instagram this afternoon. But I'd noticed for like 2 weeks or something, I was losing a bunch of followers. Our video views were way down. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I mean, you always lose followers because people follow and unfollow like crazy. That's just how it is on Instagram and stuff. And I'm like, man, something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. So I started digging around, and I found where Instagram had sent me like a hidden message saying that we were no longer be able to be viewed by any new viewers. So like, I wasn't gonna be on any real feeds. You couldn't search me. Like, I wasn't going to pop up on people's feeds and stuff. And the reasoning was there was too much use of alcohol, too much profanity, and too much tobacco and drug use, which our content is extremely family friendly. Like, my dad's
in your content?
Yeah.
No, there's
none of that.
I think they might have said that about our content. They were probably watching some of our stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're not that bad, of course, you know. Now, I do get a little rough with the language sometimes.
Some of the beer times get rough.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just depends. And, you know, like, we get around a big group of people. We're all out there carrying on, and you got, you know, testosterone flowing, and everybody's drinking cold beer or something. And I don't hardly even drink that much. But at the same time, I know, like, we try to keep it as cool as possible. I could never imagine yours getting hit for that, ever. I don't think I've ever heard you say a cuss word at all.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. They were just pulling straws. So I appealed that, and thankfully, for some reason, they let us go back to doing our thing. So we regained everything that we lost, and that's been pretty cool. But yeah, we try to be as family friendly as I want, because I want there to be a hunting page where people be like, hey, go watch this kid's videos. You know, they don't have to worry about, my fixing to drop the F-bomb or something. And we're not perfect by no means. Like,
Oh, so, no, I get it. Yeah. I mean, I get it 100%. We try to be, and we make sure that we put it, like, hey, 18 and up or whatever, because, we are all adults. And we've had some people on that just let it go. They let it go, man. And I don't feel like I should censor that.
No. Yeah, that's
even, like I said, and when I'm talking to guys like you, I'm not going to use rough language. Because that's not the context.
No.
I'm going to reciprocate what I'm getting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you shouldn't censor somebody being themselves. I mean, the social media stuff is so stupid. Like, it's great and it's absolutely ridiculous at the same time. Like, we get the same 15,000 comments. You guys are torturing animals, and it's just there's so much hate, and there's good stuff that comes with it, and there's bad stuff as well. But the thing that aggravates me about social media is, like, if I see something I don't like, I'm just not going to watch it. Like, just
that's all you got to do.
But unfortunately, we get
haters.
We get the people. And so that's the thing. Like me, I don't want to censor what we're doing to an extent. I know I have to, just because of the times, and I can't show the stuff that we may have been able to show 20 years ago or whatever. But so I don't mind censoring it, just so we keep it where people can still watch us. And, we've grown a platform now to where I don't want to lose it all. We put a lot of hard work in blood, sweat, and tears into doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we have to censor stuff nowadays. And it is what it is. So hopefully maybe one day there'll be a platform where we don't have to do that. But, we jumped over to Rumble. Justin jumped to Rumble. He called me and said, hey, this is the deal they're doing for us for Rumble. Jump over to Rumble. I called him and asked him, because he's helped me out a lot with, like, the YouTube side of things and Rumble and all that stuff. So I jumped over to Rumble with him. Rumble sucks, but
I was going to ask you that, because, like, do we have a Rumble account?
Yeah, I've posted a few videos.
Yeah, I mean, like,
just had a hit.
Just ain't had nothing really,
No, Rumble's horrible. So yeah, hopefully one day they'll come out with a platform that there's people watching stuff, so you can make $1 or $2. And it's worth your time. But yeah, Rumble's not it. So unfortunately right now it's just YouTube, Instagram. I mean, I've had a bunch of TikToks, and this last TikTok's finally stuck. I don't know what I'm doing different, but we've grown a little bit of a following on TikTok as well. So
good deal.
We try to be right there in the middle. We want to show people what it's all about in the outdoor industry, and then we want to stay on everybody's good side too at the same time. So,
and that's a hard thing to do. I never figured it would be that complicated. And I've told Carter and Ryan several times, I'm like, man, I've always prided myself. I'm like, I don't have no haters. You know, it's like people, I'm sure people don't like me. There's a lot that don't like me, but they, they're not really like voicing it or nothing. But that has changed.
Yeah.
It has changed. And I imagine it's going to get worse. And
oh, for sure.
And it sucks because you're like, I didn't do nothing to you.
Yeah.
What did I do to deserve that? But then in the end, if you just stop and you're like, there's something wrong with that person. It's nothing that we done.
No. That's just lack of knowledge. People don't understand. So, I mean, I understand where people are coming from. If you scroll through your Instagram feed and you love animals, and next thing you know, you see this little catch dog smoking a hog.
Yeah.
What the heck is this? This is horrible. So they just don't understand, and they're not, I don't want to say not intelligent enough, but they don't want to stick around long enough.
They're not open-minded
enough.
They're
being ignorant.
Yeah.
They're acting ignorant.
And that's what it is. It's just the ignorance level. And like I said, I'm using ignorance as what it's meant to be used for.
They just don't know.
They just don't know, and they won't give it a chance to understand it. And I have, in the past couple of years, I have really transformed people's outlook on some of that.
There's been some people at the gas station that meet us at first,
and they're like, what?
And then by the end of it, they love us. And
it's
so odd.
I mean, like Cassandra, she didn't know what to think at first. She was like, I mean, they do rescue and all this stuff, and we were taking care of their farm, and she was like, I don't know if we can do this, Yeah. And then once she's seen how much we care for our dogs and how much time and effort and stuff, she was like, oh, well, this all can't be that bad.
Yeah.
And then we were out there, and we built a big set of kennels for her for rescue stuff. And then when it was all said and done, I was like, okay, I said, my part, I'm not worried about it. Go ahead. And then the other guys, they were like, yeah, we're good too. Just go ahead. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, we're going to donate it.
Yeah.
And if more people could interact like that instead of doing the tit for tat back and forth where you did this wrong and no, blah, 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 we just came to an agreement that, now, don't get me wrong. She's not going to be hanging out watching all my videos, by no means. But at the same, she understands what we're doing.
Exactly.
And I understand what she's doing too,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with everybody having different opinions. And I'm really patient with people because, a lot of times, like, we'll get in a conversation with somebody and then they do understand, like, hey, man, okay, I understand. I necessarily am not really for it, but hey, I'm not going to report you this one time. That's one of the things too we do with guiding. A lot of these guys, they'll ask us a lot of questions like, "Hey, we want to come shoot all good fun." Well, perfect. Well, what else do you guys do? We do dog trips. Oh, that's a little too cruel. And I understand. Like it looks cruel if you don't understand the process and don't understand what we're doing.
And they look at it from a house dog point of view. They think these hunting dogs are house dogs, and they're these couch potatoes that are soft, and it's like the difference between the average person and a UFC fighter. One wants it, one wants that, and the other one don't.
Well, that'd be like having Bill Gates over here and Sean Strickland over here, and being like, okay, guys, y'all have a foot race. Who do you think's going to win? And it's not because of athletic ability, it's because of just drive and just determination. But athletic ability does play the factor in the end. You have one person who just is not built like that. Same like with the dogs. These dogs are machines. Like they're athletes, Yeah. And like you said, like you're talking about your catch dog, you're like, you keep him on the heavy side. You make sure he's got plenty, and you worry about whether they're going to get too hot or not. I mean, and it's sad that we even have to go over these things and try to explain it to people. But at the same time, when you do, there's been times where I've been explaining stuff and I stop and think, I'm like, man, I really do love these dogs a lot. Not that I don't know that I do, but I'm thinking, I'm like, well, it's a lot because when you spend, like, I think our feed bill's on average about $800 a month, and we got a lot of dogs. And I know a lot of people, they're like, I wouldn't spend that on dogs.
And then I know some people that'll be like, shit, that's all you spend?
Yeah, but some people are like, well, that ain't nothing,
No, yeah.
And then not counting all the, the medications and, wormers and just the general upkeep, the time that it takes to do that. It's a lot, But even having 3 or 4 dogs, you still got to put that time into them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing people don't realize. They just think we go take this dog from a pound, throw them on this wild animal, they get killed, we go get another one. And unfortunately, no. There are people that do that.
Well, there are.
Yeah. But like I said, I've had my dogs now for my oldest is 5.5, you know, and I would do anything for him. And that's the thing. People don't realize that we care about these animals. They just think we're using them as tools. But in my opinion, it's just as cool to feed your wild animal that you're keeping in the house and never let them go outside, and you live in a 500 square foot apartment in New York City.
Yep.
You know, that's an animal at the end of the day that you've just tried to tame and turn it into your daughter or your son. You know, like that animal has a natural drive to do things. These are wolves. I mean, it's we're treating them badly by throwing them in a house and not letting them do what they're bred to do.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, and what we do with them is the oldest form of hunting, really.
Yeah.
And it's the most primal. It's the most primitive. I mean, we're going back to putting our hands on these wild beasts. That can't be tamed. And you know what I'm saying? And I guess that's why we're just such a different breed. You know, and I'm not just saying hog hunters, but I mean like general big game hunters with dogs in general, they're like that. You know, it's the call of the wild deal. I guess. I don't know. Yeah. It's something different.
Yeah. Something to it. And a lot of people aren't for it till they get out and do it. I mean, like I said, we get to take a lot of people in the woods. I don't know how many hogs we've killed this year, but it's in the hundreds, if not thousands. So we get the opportunity to get a lot of people in the woods. And you'd be surprised how many people are super iffy when they get out there and they're doing anything like, I gotta kill this thing with a what? Like a knife? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, man, it's fun. Just wait. And then they get in there and stick it, and you look at them and they're smiling ear to ear.
Changes their whole world, buddy.
Yeah, they're having a blast.
All right, let me ask you this. You get to do that stuff all the time, and we do guided stuff as well. The craziest thing, and I just wanted to see if it holds true on your end, is usually it's the people that you would least expect that enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like you think you see this other guy over here, like, he's out of the military or plays ball or something like that, athlete, and he's all Mr. Billy Bad Butt and just can do it all, and goes in there and sees all that happening and he just freezes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next time you go in there and you got a guy over here that looks like he just got out of the library, and this dude is raw. Like, he's ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had that happen several times, and I'm like, I never would have thought.
Yeah, several that will surprise you. It's like, they were much more game about it than I thought they was going to be.
Yeah. And I've had a few of them. I'm like, after it was over with, I looked at them. I was like, dude, I didn't know you were chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, they're like, no, that's just so dangerous. And yeah, it is. It is dangerous. But once we do it so long, it's like, it's second nature.
Exactly.
You got good dogs. You got a good team with you if you go with people. So, that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be where it's super dangerous and really complicated all the time. I feel like if it's like that, then you're not doing your homework,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I've got some cool stories of some cool people like that. I've never had anybody completely back out because I'm pretty straightforward with the groups when we go and like, listen, this is exactly what's going to happen. If you feel like you're going to hesitate, then we're not going to do it because, you end up sticking with one of my dogs or something like that. And we're going to have, then we're going to have a problem. So, but yeah, I had a group of guys. I had we had a group of 15 guys. They landed 2 private jets at the airport. We went and picked them up. These guys were from all over the world. And they were like a big group of guys together. We're racing cars all over the U.S. And we've had the opportunity to have some cool clients like this. And they want to go hog hunting. They want to go kill some dogs or kill some hogs with dogs. Perfect. So we take them and we give them the spears and all that. First guy kills it from Brazil, and he's all jacked up. Then this guy's like wearing a full white button-up shirt. And he's like, that's a $1,000 shirt. Just see what I'm going to do with it. I'm like, okay, sweet. So he sticks his hog. He gets the spear, wipes it all down his shirt, takes it off, folds it up, and he's getting it framed and put in his big penthouse in New York City.
Wow.
And, these guys just went criminal on us. They're like, man, let's get naked and kill these hogs. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, guys.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing
Yeah, we got it. We got it out of a lodge in Mississippi, and we had a few clients that were, you could tell that like they needed that. They needed that. They had never been able to really turn loose. And man, when they did, it was like the harder it was, the better they liked it.
Yeah.
And generally it was more, white collar workers, and like I said, not hacking on them at all, because almost everybody's in great shape. They take care of themselves. They're healthy. They just don't get to do what we do.
Exactly.
And man, they loved it.
Yeah, 90% of the people we take are not hunters. Everybody I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people in the U.S. especially want to try to do hunting at some point in their life. We get the opportunity to take these guys from the inner cities and stuff, and they come into Central Florida with us, and they do some hog hunting or turkey hunting or gator hunting or whatever. Gator hunts are wild, but so that's the cool thing. We get to take a lot of guys like that have never done anything like that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool there.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's also absolutely terrifying at the same time. But we've got plenty of those stories too.
So, I can imagine. Yeah, Well, as a matter of fact, like we're open to hear some stories now.
Yeah.
Like yeah, for real. Like I mean, we try to get everybody to at least tell us one good hunting story or whatever. So I mean, and we can do that when we get done with the next little thing. We want to talk to you about the handle on the catch dog.
Yep.
I know you got a good handle on your catch dog, and so if you can, kind of get into that, maybe, how you got that and how you work with him. And then maybe some tips and tricks and advice to some of the newcomers and younger guys that are coming into the sport. And then after that, I want you to tell us a couple of good stories.
Cool. Yeah. So, like I said, I got Obi when he was a little bit older. So he was over a year old. I guess he might be 4 years old. I can't keep track of age anymore, but he was a full grown dog whenever I got him. So, now I've got him to the point where he walks in with me and catches when I tell him to. Every once in a while, he does his own thing. It's just like having a toddler. They do what they want to do when they want to do it. Nobody can say. I mean, if they tell you their dog's doing the same thing every single time, they're a liar. But anyway, that's a story for a different time. But yeah, so he walks in with me and catches. The way I started with him was on a leash and just teaching him how to heel and toning him. And just walk with him for a long time and keeping him next to me. When we would bait, when they'd have one bait, I'd have him on a leash, and as soon as he would run, I'd snatch it and kind of get him back and settle back down with me and stuff, and tone him, and and then it just gets super tone broke. And then once you go away from a leash, you got to get into a little voltage to the neck whenever he changes his mind and wants to run a little bit. Right. And it's just repetition. I mean, we hunted a lot more than we do now. I mean, we hunted 3 to 4 times a week. And so when you start doing that as much, that dog, he just knows, hey, this is my job. When I hit the ground, I walk next to Pops. We walk in there. When he says, catch him in my Indian cry, war cry, high-pitched voice,
that is what caught me. And I don't remember if it might have been just a little snippet of the video or if it was just playing or whatever. But like I said, I hadn't followed you or anything. I didn't know anything about you. And I heard you hollering at Obi when he was young. I think it was like his first or second hunt. And you were hollering, catch him up, catch him. And I started laughing. I said, who is that? And after that, dude, I was it. I loved it.
I should shirt that says catch him bear or catch him Obi or something. But yeah. So I give him the good old command, and then he kind of goes to work from there. But yeah, I'm a super animated dude. So yeah, that's kind of how I started. Just repetition. It's just like training any other dog to walk on a leash or anything like that. Personally, I don't want to fight my dogs. Same thing with my big dogs. When we would bay a hog and we'd catch a hog a mile away, I'd hook them on a leash and say, all right, you're walking with me for a mile. And then either you're going to have a sore head or a sore neck when we get back to the buggy, or learn to walk next to me on this stupid leash, because I don't want to fight my dogs. Hog dogs, I love to have well-trained dogs just because I don't want, like, my hog dogs listen better than probably most people's house dogs, but I don't want to fight them at the end of the day. And they're smart,
tools.
Know how to do that. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and we're probably going to catch some flack for this from all of us, but I've talked to a lot of guys over the years, a lot of them. They think that they're going to take something out of the dog. They're like, well, and I mean, I know you can overhandle, but they're like, they want their dog chewing on the hog, snatching and barking and foaming at the mouth and stuff. I'm like, dude, no, like they have no control over them in the box.
Yeah.
They're screaming and just chewing the box, and they'll be in there fighting, carrying on, and it's wild. And so do you think that takes anything out of the dog?
You know, it takes something out of the hunt for me. I know that when we go with people like that, it just makes me frustrated. But I don't know when I got trouble when he was younger, and I trained him the same way I do all my other dogs. I would put him with any other dog with guys running their mouth, and he would do the dang thing. I never had a problem with him. And so I don't know. I can't personally say it's ever taken anything out of a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the way some people train their dogs could scare their dogs to the point where it takes it out of them.
Yeah.
Where they're so terrified.
Well, I don't think it's ever taken the hunt part out of our dogs.
No.
The want to go hunt. You know? And I see where people could look at that and be like, well, man, if that dog is just sitting there not doing nothing, they're thinking that the dog's not going to go hunt. Well, I mean, it knows how to behave.
Exactly. And that's the thing. We hunt with the same group of guys, and we've been hunting now for so long. And all of our dogs are kind of on the same page. Like, you know, if a dog barks in the box when we're driving in the middle of the pasture, that's a big no-no.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know. And then we hunted with some guys like what you're talking about. You get in there and flip the hog, and they've got 6 dogs, and you're getting bit because you're trying to, you know, we don't stick a lot of our hogs unless it's on a guided trip. We'll bar them and turn them loose, or you know, we love to hog hunt, so sometimes we turn sows loose. It just depends on where we're at. And then sometimes we kill everything. It just depends on the ranch. But yeah, it's just a cluster when it gets to that point. When you've got guys that dogs don't listen, and it's just a nightmare. You're trying to get out of there. You barred a hog and trying to leave now, and dude's beating his dogs because they don't want to listen. They're trying to go back and catch the bar. You just turned loose and all that stuff. So for me, even if it was to take a quarter of the hunt out of my dogs, it's worth it for me. I'm more going to catch hogs either way. So
you're going to have a better time, I feel. You're going to have a lot better hunt, you know.
I'm not just mad and pissed off the whole time, because that's one thing that'll ruin a hunt is your dog's not listening. I mean, that'll make you pretty frustrated. At least for me, I'm not gonna lie. You know,
it's like that with us. I mean, if it gets to the point where, you know, if you got a young dog and he's acting up a little bit, okay, well, you can deal with that because we know that's expected.
Exactly.
But when it gets to the point, like you said, I think every dog has its day where he just does. He's got maybe 2 or 3 minutes where he just don't want to act right.
Yeah.
And if it goes more than that, then it becomes frustrating. And then everybody's going to if I get pissed off and all aggravated, then I'm going to be short and smart with everybody and not even trying to be. And then they're going to get aggravated. And then might as well just go home.
Yeah. It just keeps snowballing.
Yeah.
Just puts a tag on the whole thing.
And then your dogs know that too. Like I know I've been at a puppy and just want to just absolutely punch a hole in the wall because I'm so frustrated at my dogs, and my dogs won't even come around me. They're screw that, and we're fixing to get in some trouble. So, you know, those dogs can sense that kind of stuff too. So for me personally, I don't care. I'm training the dogs, you know, how we've kind of always done it. It's just because we enjoy hog hunting. It's not always about catching a hog or harvesting a hog or catching a big hog, you know. And so for me, it's just an enjoyment to get out, ride around on a buggy, and enjoy nature. And then if we can catch a hog, let's do it. So if it's something where I've got to fight 10 head of dogs, it's not fun for me anymore. I wouldn't enjoy that.
No, I could see that. Like I said, and we usually carry a lot of, I ain't gonna say a lot of dogs. Sometimes it gets to be where there's a lot, especially when we got, you know, like right now we've got, we've got, I don't know how many young dogs that are a year and a half, you know, from a year old to a year and a half old, and they need all the woods time that they can possibly get. And we try to take, I don't want to take all of them at one time, you know, because then it turns into a cluster for real. So if we've got 4 to 6 dogs with us, I can't afford to spend 2 hours or an hour messing with the dogs, getting them ready to go hunt and trying to keep them calm enough to get out and do right when I've only got a 3 or 4 hour that I can really hunt.
Exactly.
You know, I got to make the most of it. So I think I think we're finding out more and more that guys who are really successful
They do their homework.
Catching hogs. They do their homework, and they have a handle on their dogs. Doesn't matter how far the dog hunts out. It does not matter what breed the dog is. It does not matter what state you're in, or the terrain, or the style, or what. But it seems to go hand in hand. The people who are doing this for real all the time and have been doing it for a long time, that's what they all hold in high regard, is a handle on a dog.
Yeah, my dogs listen way better than they hunt.
Well, ours actually probably hunt better than they listen if we're hunting armadillos.
Yeah, they don't do either real well. So
we will hunt. Yeah. I promise you, I don't care how good your dogs are. You get my dogs out there, we're gonna smoke the armadillos.
There you go. Hey, that ain't gonna hurt.
There's not a better set of armadillo dogs, and I say that with full confidence. I'll put money on it. So for all these other guys out here in the world, y'all think y'all got it? Come and get it.
We got the armadillos down.
So that's why I don't go hunt in Florida, because I know that's like we'll stack them up. We'll tie them up.
Oh yeah, we got plenty. You could run 100 of them in a night for sure.
We're getting to where we got a pretty good population. For when I first moved here, man, we never seen them, and I've been here 30 years roughly, I guess, maybe a little more. But like we never seen armadillos, and then it got to where 15 years ago you started seeing them a little more and more. And now they're everywhere. Yeah,
well, y'all aren't catching enough of them. You're slacking.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Well, I'm gonna have to hog break these dogs and get them back on their armadillos.
There you go.
So what do you got? Like, what kind of on that right there? Do you got any tips or tricks as far as like breaking them off of stuff?
A TT15 really helped me out a lot.
Yes, sir.
and running them with a dog that doesn't trash. You know, a dog. You know, if you're running it, like same thing with like there's two different kinds of dogs: a barking on trail dog and a non-barking on trail dog. Where you guys probably are is more running hounds. I don't know what kind of dogs you guys are running.
We run silent cur dogs.
Yeah, same thing.
That's ourselves, you know.
Yeah. Same thing for us. If you run a puppy with a dog that barks on trail, the puppy's going to bark on trail. They just kind of naturally do what they see the bigger dog doing. So a TT15 will help them real quick. And then running them with a dog that's not interested in the BS and is just, I'm doing this and doing that. And like I said, my dogs are older, so, we don't have to worry about a whole lot of that crap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it nice. Just running them with a dog that it just knows, hey, if I'm going to run past 13 deer to go catch this hog, or if there's 7 armadillos over here and a possum and a coon and a cow, but I'm going this way.
So are y'all around a lot of cattle?
We're allowing a bunch of cows, yeah. So that's the thing that we have more of an issue with than anything would be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Say you probably have to worry with that more than anything.
Yeah, because if you get on a ranch and you say the owner's like, hey, I just want to come ride with y'all. The second your dog comes and looks at a cow for more than half a second, you're never hunting there again. So we had to be pretty strict on our dogs' trash and breaking and stuff. And I'll say, the second I tell you, like you were saying just a couple minutes ago, every dog has their day. The second I tell you my dog will never bay a cow, it's the second he'll bay.
They'll go do it right then. The next time you go, they'll break out of the kennel and go bay one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be riding through the pasture and see him just hanging off a cow.
There's been very few dogs that I have ever been around or ever seen that I would say was straight every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had one dog that I would tell you, I was like, if this dog will do it without fail every time. I don't care what the situation is, and there's only been one.
Yeah.
And that's out of hundreds and hundreds of dogs.
Yeah.
And I still I would like to say that not one time did she ever get off on something else or not do what I told her to do, but she done it while I could see her. You know what I mean? She done right while I could see her anyway. She might have messed up when I didn't see her.
Exactly. But that doesn't count because you didn't see it.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So but now every other dog that I've owned, if I tell you, hey, this dog right here, man, he's, he'll strike off the truck and he'll take a track and he'll stick with it and blah, blah, blah. As soon as I tell you that, he's going to run a deer and then dig an armadillo. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Or he won't come out from the back of the truck.
Oh, yeah.
Out of in your brake light. Yeah, trouble. We were coming around a big bayhead the other day, and I'll just be honest, and he goes to barking. All right, we got one bait. I go jump to the back of the truck because we were just cruising around. Vest up Obi, put him on the ground, walk him in there. I was like, I told my cousin Riley, I said, go get a video in there of him baying that hog. And he comes up over the hill and goes, it's a freaking cow. I'm like, no way it's a cow. There's no way it's a cow. I'm telling you right now, it's a cow. I walked back, put Obi in the dog box, walk over there, and it was we ended up having to put the cow down. It was like half dead, nasty, rotten, stinky cow. He was in there baying the hair off of it. I'm like, you idiot! I guess you helped us find the cow. We put it out of its misery, but
yeah. Well, I mean, and that might be why why it actually bayed the cow, because in normal circumstances, I'm just going on all the years I've done this. I wouldn't think that the dog you're talking about would do that, because if they don't particularly ever do it, and then all of a sudden, like, you got to take that variable that came into effect. The cow's not up moving around in a healthy cow. Something wrong. That could be why she done it.
Yeah, she was in bad shape. But yeah, that's just one of those things, man. A dog's a dog. They have a mind of their own. That's what I tell people. So you can't guarantee anything. They have their nights where they're just like the best dog you've ever seen in your life, and then they have nights where they don't. It's just like a person. I'm lazy tonight. I don't want to do anything. So the ice cream goes up in my lap on the couch, I'm going to eat it. Mm-hmm. But if not, I'm not going to the fridge to get it. So
there you go.
it is what it is.
So what do you think that we can do, like the best thing to do to keep our sport alive and going?
We'll be back after a quick break.
We would like to interrupt this episode to take a moment to thank our sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers Podcast: Southern Cross Cut Gear, Boars N Broads, Hardcore Hog Dogs and Cut Gear, Showtime Premium Pet Food, Animal Housing Solutions, Tuskers Magazine, American Doghorn Association, 4L Kennels, Hogbang.com, The Boar's Nest, Crockett Taxidermy, Mud Creek Hog Baying. A big shout out to all those people and companies who help make us who we are. Thank y'all.
I would just say, it's hard. I don't want to, like we were talking about monetizing stuff earlier and things of that nature. I push a lot of these kids at hog hunt a lot more than we do nowadays to film. But you've got to be generous to the public that doesn't understand what's going on when you post videos and upload your stuff. Because the only thing that, if you're not careful, and hey, I don't care if this 80-pound cow's got 6 dogs on it and it's screaming bloody murder, I'm going to post it on my social media, and whoever doesn't like it can just kiss it. I understand that mentality, but for us to keep the dog hunting sport alive, we've got to have some class in running dogs.
Yes.
And we don't have a whole lot of that. And from the outside looking in, there's not a whole lot of people, if you tell them, hey, I run dogs, they're going to think you're a high-class individual. It just is what it is. That's kind of the rap that we've gotten for some reason. We're a bunch of hillbillies.
Yep.
And so for us to keep the sport alive, they got rid of bay pins in Florida for a reason. It just got such a bad rap. So we've got to have some class in at least the content we upload, and just respect the dogs and respect the hog at the end of the day. I know it's hard because they're a nuisance, they're a pain in the butt, but unfortunately I see a lot of dogs that don't look like they've eaten in 3 months, and I know how it is. I've been in it a long time, and like I said, we grew up in it, but we got to have a little bit more class as dog hunters, and I think that would help too. And just explain more, like what we were talking about. If somebody jumps all over you for something, just give them the patience to talk to them about it. And then maybe if we can change one mind at a time, you never know where that'll end up. But, so a lot of people.
I agree, because like you said, we too tend to be a little bit rougher crowd.
Yeah.
The majority of the dog hunters. And I've noticed that there's very, very few that will take the time to be patient and try to educate.
Exactly.
If somebody jumps on them, first thing they do is jump right back. And I get it. I get it.
Yeah, we're all guys. We're full of testosterone.
Yeah, exactly. But you gotta, once you get to a certain statute in it or age, And when I say age, I don't mean like your actual age. I mean like how many years you've been doing it. Yeah. Once you've done it so long, you get to that point, and especially like you and I, we've had things taken away. Like you said, y'all lost the bay pins. You've seen it go down. We used to could have live hogs. You could bar them, bring them home, whatever you wanted to do. There was no regulations, and then it went from that to where we cannot have a live hog. We've got seasons. Yeah. And it, and that all happened in the course of just a few years. And so,
and that's where it's headed here too. Yeah, that's where it's headed for us, because Florida's trying to make it to where the hogs are like a game animal now.
Mm-hmm. Well, they classified ours 2 years ago as a game animal.
Game animal here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do for us. Is they're going to turn it into a game animal, because I mean it brings a lot of money. There's so many people that want to shoot a hog or catch a hog or do all that stuff. So they're trying to classify it as game animal, and then they're going to put it in a season, and
Oh yeah, I'm going to tell you, when they do that, it's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
Like they took away night hunting for 2 years, I think it was. Like we couldn't hunt at night.
And then they gave us a special nighttime
now we got a special nighttime season.
Gosh,
and the dates change all the time.
Yeah, every year the dates are different.
You used to could not hunt during the day during turkey season, which they gave it back to us this year. On private lands you can, which basically 99% of the public land in Alabama you can't run hog dogs on at all.
Yeah.
As far as like state-owned or WMA, I think it depends on the national forest you hunt on.
I don't think you can run dogs on any of it, and I might be 100% mistaken, but I've never legally. I don't think you can run dogs on anything in the state of Florida besides bird dogs. You can run bird dogs for quail and stuff like that, but you can't run hog dogs that I know of, or deer dogs, or anything on like public land or the WMAs or anything like that. I could be wrong, but I've never seen anybody do it.
I got you.
So, yeah.
But that's a good thing though. Like you said, everybody just have a little patience and put it out there in a good perspective.
Yeah, because even like when people say something stupid on my Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and one of my followers will jump all over them, I'll be like, hey, let's just. I'll either end up deleting the comment because there's no sense in arguing over that kind of stuff, or like a lot of times I'll just try to explain it as best I can to the people. If they don't understand, I say, hey, thank you guys for watching. If you want to come back and answer any more questions, then we'll do it then too. I'm not trying to jump all over people, because like I was saying earlier, from the outside looking in, if I was born into a different world, I would understand where it doesn't look the greatest.
Oh yeah,
it's all about perspective.
And that's the thing, being open-minded, because there's so many people out there that are like, well, it's my right to do it, and I'll do it the way I want to, and I don't give a damn if nobody likes it or not. And I get that, I do. Yeah. But if you're going to use our public platforms, then you need to consider the public.
Exactly.
And what they think and how they hold you in regard. Because if you didn't care what they thought, you wouldn't be on there in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. What's the point in sharing stuff if you could care? Yeah.
And so, that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I love watching a bulldog just wring one's head. I love it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our videos, we don't show it.
Nope.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Instagram lets us do it. Yeah. And we'll see whenever they don't. Like, you can't do it and be monetized. Like, that's everybody asking me, man, you got a pretty good following. How much money are you making? Big old zero. Yeah. Because if I want to show some stuff, like if I want to shoot a deer with my bow or anything like that, they get all wiggy about that. So I just won't be monetized, and it is what it is. So Instagram, I can get away with it. But yeah, TikTok, YouTube, all that fun stuff, Facebook, they're not going to let you do it. So, I mean, one of the biggest videos on my Instagram right now is Obi just smacking the piss out of like a 300-pound ball.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So.
Hey, do you know Cody Godwin and Connor Edwards?
I don't think I do. No, sir.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you did or not. Of course, you know how it is. Like, oh, you're from Florida. Do you know this one guy? Now, and these are true houndsmen. These guys have some phenomenal dogs. And when I say they catch jumbos, dude, Cody he's like, I caught a pretty good one the other night. It's like 350 with 4-inch shanks. I mean, and he does this every time he goes.
Some of these boys crazy. Yeah, I wish we could be.
I just didn't know if you might have knew them. I think they know Justin, or they all hunt together. Period. Here and there. I know Connor went down there and hunted with him.
Yeah, if it's the group that Justin hunted with from the tournament, I know of them, but I'm not like.
Yeah, it is. It's the same guys.
Yeah. So I know of those guys, but they're not too far from us. They're right here in Okeechobee.
Yeah,
and they might have asked us to go with them. We're just so freaking busy, which I can't complain about. So we're starting to slow down. It's the summertime, but
they tree a lot of bear and stuff too.
Oh yeah, we need to. Yeah,
not necessarily tree them, but they get on them. And there's not like they're not trying to run bear.
Yeah.
No,
that's off game, And now I think they have a bear season because Cody has bear dogs, but they actually run in Georgia.
Yeah, that's where they can run.
Yeah, we don't have a bear season down here. Our bears are out.
That's what I'm saying. Now, like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm worried about armadillos, and you guys have to worry about alligators and black bears.
Yeah, I had a freaking bear try to get up in the buggy with us. I got it on video. Tried to catch. He tried to eat me first, and I had a puppy with me. And then we walked up to a feeder, talking about the story part of things. But
just go ahead with it.
Yeah, I was walking up to a big feeder, and I had a spotlight with me, and I look at my Garmin, and my dogs are like, I don't know, 300 yards or something to my left. And I'm like, okay, good deal. There must have been a hog on there. Well, I hit my spotlight, and something black ran to the right. I'm like, oh, these sorry dogs, the freaking hog's right here. And so I hit my light again, and I look up, and this mama bear is running wide open at me. So I holler at this puppy, like, the puppy first. I'm not, I'm not trying to throw my dog in there, but if it's me or the dog, we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So he kind of ran at the bear right at first, just enough to get the bear to turn, and then he realized, hey, that's not something I'm really interested in. So I called my buddy and said, hey, get your ass up here now. There's a freaking bear. She's trying to eat me. So he comes flying up there in the buggy, and we jump on the buggy, and I call my dogs back. I'm like, we got to get the heck out of here. And so they come back, or the dogs come and load up on the buggy, and I'm shining, and she comes running back out of the woods, full sprint right at the buggy. And Trouble just saw something black running, and he barreled off and realized, oh, crap. I'm hollering at him, load up. And he jumped back on the buggy right when he went to catch him. And, we're on a huge swamp buggy. Like, this isn't a Can-Am or like a side-by-side. It's a big old swamp buggy. And so she took off running. This is videos on my Instagram. She took off running back to the right. And I'm like, man, I hear something. I look up in the tree, and there's two cubs right in the tree above us. Like, that explains it. We better get out of here. She wasn't a very big bear, but she was feisty as all get out. So I've had some crazy bear encounters. Luckily, we don't have a lot of panthers up here like the guys do south of us.
That would be
we have
tough.
A bunch of bears. Yeah, we have a pile of bears around us.
So have you had any run-ins with panthers? Just by chance,
I've seen one, but they're a tricky cat. So we own a deer farm, and we have more issues with bobcats than we do panthers. I had a panther go by a camera pretty close to the deer farm a couple times, and I was pretty worried. But thankfully, the panther never got in our deer farm, because they're more important than the president kind of deal down here in Florida. So if you look at them wrong, So, and if they get in the deer farm, that's going to be a bad deal. But yeah, I've never had a personal encounter with them. A lot of guys south of here during turkey season, you'll see those videos of the panther stalking up on a guy. Turkey. We had a guy sitting on the backside of a tree, get smacked in the face by one last year. He kind of just reached around. Yeah, it kind of just reached around the tree and scratched his face. And he took around to see what it was, and it was running off. We don't. Yeah, those panthers are smart. They're super smart. I've never had a bad experience with one, but the bears during archery season and stuff, they're just super curious. We get a lot of problems with bears.
They just want to come see what you are.
Yeah.
Something. They got something going on. That would be. I don't know. Like I said, that would be pretty tough to have to deal with that stuff all the time.
Yeah. About what size are a lot of these bears you're encountering?
Well, some of them get big just because we can't hunt them. I got a video on my Instagram from bow season last year. I would say this bear was 350 pounds. He came, I heard breathing real hard down in the creek behind me. I looked down, and he was coming through the creek, and they're just really slow and kind of lethargic and everything. And I had my bow. I wasn't really worried about him. He went over to the feeder and kind of moseyed around. And then he kind of looked up at me, and you could tell he could smell me or something. And he just came moseying right up to the bottom of my tree stand and went to put his paw like up on my tree stand at the base. And I said, "Hey!" And I hollered at him, and he kind of just looked at me, went like 5 or 6 feet, and sat down and just looked up at me. And then I was kind of like, "Well, he's not worried about me at all. This could be an issue."
Yeah, he's just like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah, I was like, "Are you trying something here, buddy?" And then he moseyed on off. But I've got a good buddy of mine, Landon. He's on our Instagram, a bunch of YouTube videos, big heavy set kid. We hunt a lot of places with him. He's got a big ranch down here in Venus, just south of us. And last year he fell asleep during bow season in his tree stand. Woke up, one was shaking his tree stand, looking up at him, shaking his tree, and he couldn't get it to leave. He had to call their ranch manager to come with the buggy and run it off. Which he probably had a lot of snacks, some honey buns or something up in there. That bear.
See, I knew I wouldn't have to worry about that because, like, if I like you talking about a while ago with the bear coming up, the smell that I would give off.
Oh yeah,
it would it would scare him. I promise you.
Shit in your pants.
Yeah, he'd be like, "That guy just pooped right on my head."
Yeah, that's the thing. The reason she didn't catch me because when I turned to run, she couldn't get any traction from all the poop that was on the ground. So she like that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What kind of good hog stories you got? Like some of those big jumbos y'all get.
Oh man, good jumbo stories. We've caught some big ones. I'm trying to think. One of the fun ones.
Like I said, it's kind of like on the spot. I know, but tell us a couple good ones.
I'm trying to think. One of the videos that kind of set us on the mark. We caught a big bar, in the middle of a marsh, and the dogs had it caught when we got off the buggy, and so we run in there, and of course when we get there, the dogs decide they don't want to catch it anymore, so they let it go. They're all baying it. We didn't have a catch dog. The buggy was a ways away, so Leighton ended up jumping on top of it, and that video got like 2 million views or something. He slung him off and almost bit his arm real bad, and the dogs ended up catching him. That was a fun one to cross the big marsh. But we ran one of the biggest hogs we've ever caught. It was pretty fun. He ended up breaking like 4 times before we caught him. We had a group of guys with us that had a catch dog. I didn't have an Obi at the time, which I'm not saying Obi would have done anything anyway, but we bait him in what we call Jerry Marsh. It's like it's a massive just marsh, flat grass on top, 2.5, 3 foot of water underneath it. We bait this bar in a pretty decent spot, turned the kid's catch dog to him, and he missed, and the bar broke and ran like 5 miles. I don't know how the dog stuck with him. Bait him again, and in that giant marsh, big myrtle bushes. And so we're like, okay, here we go. It's got to be a big hog. They run across that marsh. They're typically pretty tiny. And so we turn this kid's catch dog in there again. He misses again or hits it, gets thrown. We couldn't see it was so thick. We turn and run the bar. He runs right back. We bait him in the exact same spot we bait him the first time. And we didn't have another catch dog, so I didn't think to use bait or anything to help him. And so we sent the catch dog in there again. The hog broke. We ended up catching like 2.5, 3 miles from there. We just packed a bunch of stuff in there and said, we're going to either catch this hog or run him until he dies, one of the two. And he was, I don't know, probably close to 400. We've never officially weighed one that big. Normally when you catch a hog like that, you're not typically too close to a scale.
Yeah. Scale that you can actually use.
I mean, like you said, ran 5 miles.
Yeah, well, we ended up probably running that hog 10 miles before we actually caught him. Back and forth. He just was super smart. He would keep, he'd get broke and he'd run. Those big bars. You guys can't bar them up there, but
no. I mean, we've every now and then. I think the last one we caught was down there at Chestnut Ridge.
Yeah,
that's probably the last one we caught. But used to, I mean, we ran them all the time, and like you said, it's a little different.
Yeah, they're just so smart. I mean, we caught a bar last year, like 3 weeks before the hog hunting tournament. We just went hog hunting one morning like a bunch of idiots in the place that we were going to hunt for the tournament. And I put trouble on the ground. There's a huge track in the big front part of this. It's real dry. It's a scrubby area of the ranch. And I put trouble on the ground on a huge track. And he kind of run up the road, and I could tell he would throw his head in the air, and he couldn't figure it out. So I just walked up there with him and just slowed the process down and let him figure it out. He finally figured it out, went in there, and bait this hog. And Trouble's got a weird bark when it's big. It's like a oh no bark. And he kind of like howl, like, whoa, 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 and just, he's got a weird bark. And then you kind of typically, he'll tell you, like, I'm going to need some help on this one or something, Pops. And so I turned bear in with him, and the hog kind of, broke 100 yards or something once bear put some pressure on him, and they stopped him again. And we caught that hog. He was 351. We drug him out and weighed him. He was 351 pounds, but that's the least running bar I've ever caught. Typically, when we run bars, I mean, they're just smart. They'll sit there and run loops and loops and loops and loops, and then they'll bust out one side. The dogs will figure it out again. Then they'll run loops and loops. A hog we caught for the tournament a couple months before, we ran him for about 3 hours till we were just to the point where we were just like, screw it, we're going to the house. And we ended up catching him for the tournament, and he was close to 3. But like crazy hog hunting stories. I'm sure there's a better storyteller out there than we are. We always just kind of get stupid lucky. We'll be driving down the road and the dogs will bail off, and we've caught some really big. The biggest bar I ever caught, he almost ate me. We were driving down the road, headed back to the camp house. We're getting ready to call it a night. We just had dogs right on the front of the swamp buggy just for fun, and they bailed off and bait a hog in the woods. So I'm an idiot, want to film everything. So I jump off, want to be the first person in there, and I go running in there, and I meet this hog head on. He was headed out from the dog. So I don't know if I was sitting there barking at him, acting like a dog or what, but he stopped. I'm just sitting there looking at him with this spotlight. He was huge. And I'm hollering for the guys to turn something loose so I don't die. Turn the catch dog loose, turn everything loose. I don't care, dump everything. I mean, and I'm just sitting here like 3 feet looking at this giant bar.
Please don't come eat me.
Yeah, he ran around the other way, back where he came from. I think it was one of those things I just smelled that, and he wasn't about it. And we ended up catching him in a big palmetto head. He was completely hairless. I mean, he looked like a hippopotamus. He was huge.
Damn.
But yeah, like, we don't have any crazy, like, stupid stories. We just go hog hunting and see if it works out or not. But
well, I mean, I understand. Like, we hadn't had any wild ones. It's been a while, really, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say like
nothing super wild.
Yeah, nothing super. All ours are a little bit because we get such thick stuff. Yeah. We've had a few lately that were kind of, I guess you'd say, more odd, or something stupid would happen. We're like, well, that don't normally happen, But we hadn't had any wild ones lately, so we're gonna have to.
Probably as wild as it got is when I was trying to get that pig in a headlock while I was holding the camera because he came down the hill.
That was a pretty cowboy western there. That was probably about the last one. That dude was wild.
It was like this steep ass hill. It was like 70% grade, like trying to climb up with you on your hands and knees. And then this pig here he comes down with the dogs, and I got the camera, and he's just like coming at me, and he's probably 125, 150 pounds, and I'm like, well, I can't get out of the way because I'm trying to stay on the hill. I'm trying not to slide back down, and I got my camera, and he's just coming to me, and I'm like, I hope he misses me, and I'm like, no, he ain't missing me. I was like, I'm gonna grab him so he don't flip me, and I tried to get him in the headlock, but I couldn't squeeze tight enough around all the dogs, and so I knocked one or two off, and then we both all just slid down the hill, and they ended up catching him in the creek. And I tried to go down there in the creek, and all the rocks were slippery. But them pigs, they can get that grip in that creek. And he tried to get me again. And then I was like, I had my hand on top of his head, like trying to film and like trying to hold him back because he only had one dog on him. And I don't know, he was just dragging them. The rocks were so slick, and I guess the dogs couldn't get grip. And he was just trying to bite the hell out of me.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was like, I was standing back. I got to see the whole thing,
I respected that little pig more than I think any boar hog we killed last year. Like I said, he was maybe 150, but he had
it all, buddy. He was I mean, like he was not quitting.
No.
And well, we had the one that we lost. It's been about 2 years ago now. We lost King and Charlie on. That one it wasn't one of those that was like a cool story. It was rank. It was bad.
Yeah.
It's one of those that everything went wrong everything was perfect, and it just all went bad. And it's one of those that I was like, man, I hope that never ever happens again. So
yeah,
but,
we had one that it was like a 300, and he wasn't probably 350, but we've been watching a big bar at the ranch. We never could catch him. He would always run off, but he was earless. Bob cut his ears, slap off the top of his head, bobbed his tail. And I knew whenever we ran into him, it wasn't going to be fun. And we were driving down the road and looked in the thermal, and there was a big hog right 50 yards to the right of us. So my buddy turned his dogs loose, and that hog looked really big in the thermal. I don't know what that thing was. So anyway, they bay him like 50, 60 yards away. We run out there, and sure enough, it's like this 300-plus pound earless bar hog with 3.5 inches of teeth. And my buddy had just got a brand new catch dog, and he didn't know what she was about, like if she would do it or not.
Yeah.
Runs in like that with my truck. I just ran out there and shot it and been done with it.
Yep.
But yeah, that was so frustrating.
What's your biggest hog to date that you know of?
Like I was saying, the biggest one we've ever weighed was high 350s. But we've caught some hogs that were bigger than that.
Yeah.
We just never had a scale or so I can't say I've ever caught anything 500 pounds, or some of these guys, they catch monsters.
Oh yeah. But, I mean, I know some guys that catch, very, very big hogs. It's stuff that I would never even fathom. We've caught some, and it's only been a couple. We caught one, and I don't know how much, like I said, we don't know how much it weighed, but I do know it was leaps and bounds bigger than anything we've ever caught before or since then.
Yeah.
I don't know how many true 450 to 500 pound wild hogs there are. Boars, not bar hogs, but boars.
Very few.
But I would say this was one of the few. Now in that area, from there, it was in Mississippi, from there to Louisiana, there's certain areas right through there. There's some big hogs that's caught. Logan Campbell. Yeah. They catch a lot. I ain't gonna say a lot, but they catch a few big hogs every year. 300 plus, well above that.
You said, they might run them 10 hours like that. Big bar, but
and that's their races. That's what they do. They find that one big baloney foot, as Pat calls it, and they put the dogs on it, and it might take them all day or 2 days, but they get him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy. We get frustrated after a 3 or 4 hour run. We're done. We're like, yep, you won this one, buddy.
Usually ours is about an hour. If we ain't got them stopped in an hour, they're usually in the water somewhere, and we just get the dogs and go get another one. And that's fine, because that's what works for us.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that's the only way to hunt or the best way to hunt, but it's what works for us.
Exactly. Yeah, the biggest hog caught at that hog hunting tournament this year was like 451. He was a huge bar. And the boys have been watching for a while. They actually caught him. Y'all probably saw the videos.
Yeah,
they actually caught him in a cattle feeder, and he jumped out of the cattle feeder and ran right at him and crushed one of their running catch dogs. And then they ended up catching him, 50 yards or something away from that cattle trough. But we buy a bunch of hogs from those boys, and that was a monster.
Was that was in Florida?
Yeah.
Because like the last Shankathon we done, we had it, we didn't separate the class for bar hogs or boars or whatever. And it was all combined. And a bar hog, hardcore Michael Spiler and them, they caught this one. It was 439?
Yeah.
It was 439 pounds. It was it was huge.
Yeah.
And had good teeth, everything, so it was I think it was in a cattle feeder too, or they'd been watching him for a while. Same scenario. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
But this year we're doing bar hogs as a side pot, and that way, because we're doing the same thing. Like Nate is the one that come up with the big bore score with the system for that, and like we incorporated it this year with Boars N Broads with their tournament. And what it does is basically, you measure the weight and the teeth, and then you got a mathematical formula that you use. I'd say it's probably closest in comparison to what a Boone and Crockett whitetail scoring system is.
Okay.
So like if you most of us, like you said, what a 160-inch deer looks like.
Yes, sir.
If you look at it and you see a 160-inch deer, you're like, man, that's a good deer.
Yeah, same thing if a boar hog scored 160 points.
So if you got a boar hog that scores 160 points, it's the same thing.
Okay.
That's the best to put it in that perspective. So it's like a half a point for every pound of weight. And then on the teeth, it's 1 point for every eighth of an inch, both sides, So if you get anything in the 160, 180 and up, it is a stud.
Yeah.
And it does level the playing field, because if you caught 3 hogs that was 230 to 260 pounds and all of them had 3-inch teeth, it's going to be hard to beat those.
Yeah.
Because they're all real good.
They're going to score 200 points.
That's what I'm saying. They're all real good. And then you have some people that, they might catch one real big hog, but it don't have the teeth.
Yeah.
So it's not an overall trophy. And that's what the Shankathon deal is we're talking about. It's the best hog overall. And like I said, and it's one of the only virtual hunts that you can do. You don't have to drag it all around, so.
Yeah. No, that's what I was looking at, trying to figure out how to do one of those. And that's the thing with the hog hunting tournament down here.
Yeah.
There's so many people cheating in it, and they're trying to figure out how to make it better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, have a lie detector test on site. It's really not that hard.
No, it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we can have a lie detector test, and if we need a lie detector test, they have one in every major city in every state.
Yeah.
So,
and they told us, well, it costs extra money. I'm like, well, then charge an extra $50 a person.
Yep.
And then that's incorporated for the lie detector test. The amount more people you're going to get that come hunt this tournament because they know everybody's going to be lie detector tested at the weigh-in.
We had to deal with that. Like I said, we're still fairly new. The tournament is, but we have worked on it so long. The whole process that it takes to do it,
it's really hard to cheat.
It's really hard to cheat it, And I've had people I'm like, all right, well, tell me how you could cheat, and they'll study on it for a while. And I've had a couple. They're like, dude, I don't know how you could cheat it,
So you have to film all your stuff. Like, how does that work?
Oh yeah, like it's.
So you'll film like each time you go out on a hunt, because it's like a 9-day hunt, because you're only trying to get one big boar. And like in ours, like there at least needs to be like 2 members of the team present. Like the team could like theoretically split up, but like if 2 guys, they're off only on the week, like they could split up or something like that. But like you record when you casted your dogs. Once your dog started running the pig, like if they didn't just catch it in 50 yards, like if they was like running for a mile, you take a video of that and each of these times you're doing like date and time. So it's all like, you can see it's chronological.
Your time stamp on your Garmin, on your handheld.
Yeah.
You got a video person. You have a video person that comes with it. You pick you a video person and they're part of your team. It doesn't cost extra for that person, 5-man team.
Yep.
Okay.
And they video everything. Now you don't have to turn, you don't have to turn the whole video in of the entire hunt from the time you start to the time you finish. But like when those dogs take that track and they're running and you're sitting there, you're like, hey, we need to get over there, or they're bayed. That's when you got to start the serious video. All right. I got to see that Garmin, the date and the timestamp, like Nate was saying. Then you video going into the bay the whole time. Then you video the full process of catching the hog, tying the hog, doing the whole 9 yards. I need to see the date and the timestamp again as soon as you got the hog under control. That way it took you 4 minutes. You can't lie on the Garmin. You can't, everybody's is set by satellite. So you have the date and the time. And then you can weigh it right there in the woods. But like I said, you have to really, the video is what's going to determine everything.
Yeah. The guys down here would just have a hog in a pen. They'd take it out in the woods, kick the hog in the butt, and then they would just kick their dogs right on the hog and then send you to do the videos there. These guys.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's going to be like that anywhere you go. Yeah. People could do that. They're like, well, I could do that. And I was like, well, you can do it with a confirmation number too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like,
it's so hard to keep them from cheating.
It just keeps honest people honest. That's what it comes down to. If you're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. But like you said, once it gets to a certain amount of money, there's a lie detector and test involved.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. payout for that tournament, I think, is like $10,000. So you get a lot of these guys, $10,000 is real money. So
we're going to be, I think we're going to be close to 10. Now that's going to be total payout, but I think we're going to be close to it on this one.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to cheat, and that's what we might do one out at our ranch, but it'll be like on site kind of weigh-in deal. And I'm just going to have a lie detector tester on site. Top 3 guys get lie detector tests. If you fail, I'm putting you on blast. You're never entered in the tournament again.
And see, in any video that's sent in, if at any time we suspect that there's anything on it, and I've a good friend of mine, used to be a good friend of mine, but he got disqualified.
Yeah.
That was one of the first ones that we done.
Yeah.
And so you can break that video down frame by frame if we need to. If the video's not clear, I'll just say, hey guys, it's not clear. It has to be good footage, it's got to be quality footage. And like you said, we got to see where you're turning the dogs out. I want to see the track on the Garmin. Like Nate was saying a while ago, he's like, once you get the dogs out and they're running track, I want to see that track. And so if you're watching that dog and he goes right here and and he makes a couple little loops and then he goes over here, you can tell the dog's hunting's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
If you just kick him out and it's bam right there, and there's instances where it's like that.
Yeah.
But there's most of the time, if that's happening, your dog's already barking or winding or sounding off.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the only thing we've been done a lot. So sometimes very often do they do it. They might bail off and bay the hog 50 yards from the truck or something.
This is our 4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is our 4th one, and
okay,
we haven't had any issues yet. Like I said, there's been a couple times where, we've had to get them to send a different video, and we've had to, and I'll be honest, here's how we do a lot of stuff: is you're judged by a jury in real life.
Yeah.
Correct. So if there's something I think or somebody else thinks that don't look right, the majority wins. If I if I send that video to you and every other team that's out there and everybody agrees it's good, okay, then it's good. If everybody agrees it's not good, guess what? It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how those guys do it too. It's $50. There's a 3-man judge or whatever.
Yeah.
It's $50 to appeal the judge. And then after they appeal the judge, it goes to a member of every single team, and then they come and decide unanimous decision after that. But it's still ridiculous. Yeah, the only way to do it is just have a lie detector test on site.
I agree.
Be straightforward. Yeah.
And like I said, I've told people before, I'm like, hey, when it comes down to it, this is how much a lie detector is. And every state has one, because, I went through all that stuff for the very first one.
Yeah.
I was like, if at any point we feel like we need it, it's on hand. So far, everything has been leaps and bounds to where it's been on the up and up.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I really feel like
$50,000 or something, then it's worth having it there. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Like I said, now this one here, we've already had quite a few teams sign up, and we've got more talking every day, so, I think it's going to get to where it's going to be maybe a 10,000 total pot. And if it gets to that point, it's got to be a mandatory then.
Yeah.
I feel I'm like you. I feel like it's got to be mandatory because that will make people do stuff they normally wouldn't do.
Exactly.
Especially with the economy the way it is right now.
Yeah. You start talking about $10,000. That's, or even, and then people cheat for $500. It's not really the money thing. If the guy's going to cheat, he's going to cheat. But then you can say, hey, listen, like the tournament directors that do it down here, they always threaten it, but they never do it. Listen, everybody knows you're not going to lie detector test, so you might as well forget saying that.
Yeah.
Until you have this company show up and say, look, this is who we are, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're getting like our bass fishing tournaments. They would lie detector test us randomly whenever, and you didn't have any today. In the contract you signed, they could lie detector test you whenever they wanted. It is what it is. Just keep people on. It's the same thing with these companies.
Yeah, same thing. And I think that really needs to be done more. Like I said, Carter and Ryan, they've got somebody they use at theirs. And like I said, I happen to know a lady that does polygraph examinations that's right here. She actually traveled all over to do them. She did OJ's. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, and I talked with her and I asked her, I was like, well, how hard would it be? Because I was talking and explaining the tournament deal a couple of years ago. And she told me, she said, here's the list right here. She said, you tell me where they're at, and all they got to do is show up there. You know, basically I would send the money for the polygraph test, and the person who wins, they have to go in there and take the examination. Everything passes and clear, then they get their prize.
Yeah. You know, and that's how
it's a little bit of time, but like if you live in live where you live at, or in Texas or somewhere, and you want to hunt this tournament, you don't have to drive all the way up here to, you know, to do all that. So that's what we were trying to do, was make it as easy as possible for everybody.
For sure.
But like I said, it gets to where it's too easy though. Somebody's going to try to take advantage of it.
Yeah. There's going to be that kind of people and everything though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll hunt it we'll have to hunt it this year too. I didn't know that y'all been doing it for 4 years now.
Yeah. Well, this is the fourth one. It's the third year. The first one we done 2 years in a row, because we done the first one and like, it wasn't even 2 months. We had people just blowing us up. Yeah. And honestly, they've been trying to get me to do this ever since last November. They're like, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it right now. I was like, no, man, wait. I want to do it at a certain time of the year, you know? Yeah. And they're like, well, let's just do 2 or 3, because it was a little easier on them. And there's one group, I'm not calling no names, but everybody knows them. They do exactly what you said. They have a pen. They'll have 2 or 3 hogs in there, and they do their thing. Yeah. And they were going to sign up, and we went through all of it. And, you know, on the podcast, I can tell you the basics of it, but like I really got into it, and I showed him exactly how I wanted the video and all the stipulations. And he said, man, that's just too much for me to do. I knew then. I said, yep, I got you.
Yeah. Because like us, we got a high fence. So, you know, throw my 3 big bars in a high fence and call it good.
Yeah, know? Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, you got people that say, well, what about high fence? I was like, here's the way I look at it. There's high fence operations out there that are 10,000 acres.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to hunt on 10,000 acres.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just given to you.
Yeah.
And another guy asked me, he said, well, how would you know that it wasn't a high fence if they just said, you know, whatever? I said, because that Garmin that they got, they're going to drop me that coordinate of everywhere that they're hunting if you win.
Yep, and look it up.
Yep, and then I'll look it up. And that's when they were like, oh, shit, you have done your homework. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we want it to work, you know.
Yeah, because we were getting accused of that before we even hunted. People were already saying, oh, these guys are just going to cheat. They own an outfit. I'm like, all right, that's what we did. Every time we caught a hog, we drop a pin, take a picture of it. And then that way, if anybody ever said, oh, these boys are cheating, like, I don't, you know, like, it's for a good cause, the tournament we hunt too. Yeah. Always donate a bunch to a family in need and stuff. So I'm like, man, if you really have to cheat for a charity event,
something's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
And we are getting like the clientele, the teams. I mean, like I said, these are people who own businesses and company, and they hunt every tournament they can hunt. Yeah. Like I said, Team Hardcore, they hunt every tournament they can hunt. Them dudes collect belt buckles.
Yeah.
And they hunt hard. And like I said, so if I can keep that caliber of people in it, that will tend to keep it more honest.
For sure.
You know, if you've got just this little guy over here looking to try to make a quick buck, it's going to be hard. He better be on his game before he can beat guys like you and Carter and Ryan and Michael Spiler and Case Frieda. He better have some serious stuff before he can beat y'all.
Yeah, it's the guys that always have 200 acres to their name that bring 300-pound hogs in, and I'm like, that's a little questionable. But
exactly. And so like you said, so he's got a hog that weighs 300 pounds. Well, if that hog has a broke tooth, he ain't even going to be in the score.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't going to score. A 260 could beat him then, or 250.
Yeah.
That's why we use that big bore score too, because like, there was one group that wasn't very happy with the whole situation. That was at Carter at the Tulsa hunt. Now they weren't mad. Don't get me wrong, but they were like, "Well, man, I just thought we'd done better." And then once you go over the score, they're like, "Dude, this just levels it out." I'm like, "Yeah, it levels the whole playing field." Yeah. Because, like I said, it's not just about the weight or just about the teeth. I think it's going to continue to grow. It's probably already doubled since last year.
That's awesome.
I'm thinking, if we have a 20-team entry, what'd you say we'd have, like probably 6,000 or better on first place?
Yeah, I believe so.
Around, with 20 teams, we'd have around 6,000 first place. Like I said, we're doing the belt buckles and and pays out the top 5.
You said that's a 9-day hunt?
Yeah, and now you don't have to hunt it all 9 days, but
you take breaks.
Yeah, it starts this Friday, and it'll go till the next Sunday night at midnight.
Okay.
And so you can hunt. So for guys that work, all during the week, they can still hunt 4 days on the weekend.
For sure.
And like I said, only one big hog counts for the overall score, but you can get side pots.
One hog. Pretty much, and then you got side.
Yeah, you got. Well, because we got longest stringer, and then we had. And I've told people, they're like, well, and it's crazy because I've had 2 or 3 calls today, and they're like, we want to win the longest stringer. I was like, you realize how much videoing you're going to have to do if y'all catching a bunch of hogs?
And we're doing buckles for all the side pots.
Yeah, we're doing a team buckle for the side pots with plaques. Yeah. So the way that's going to work is there'll be a buckle made, and then if you want to get one for every team member, then you can have one made. And the only reason we're doing that is because side pots are like $50. Each buckle's twice that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not economic. It doesn't make any economic sense. I mean, it would cost us several $1,000s just to have the buckles and just to have belt buckles. And to me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Once it grows a little more, we might be to the point where we can do that. I want to do one to where we were going to do a series of them and have, what did we say? Three hunts. And then there would be like one called the Classic. And so basically whoever was at the top 5 teams in any of the other 3 hunts, they would be the only ones. Those would be your qualifiers. And then you would get to hunt the $10,000 Classic hunt.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. And, we've been rolling along with it pretty good. So, I mean, it's working.
Yeah, we'll have to, I can't jump in it this week, but the next one y'all do, shoot me a message or something. We'll have to get into it, especially for 9 days. I mean, you can do a lot of hogs in 9 days.
And that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like a fishing tournament. You can cull hogs, cull your weights. If you catch a 220 with some decent teeth, you weigh him in, to get on the board. And then if you catch a bigger one, you weigh that one in. And it just, whichever your best score is going to be your hog.
Okay, cool.
So, but man, you got anything else you want to discuss or add on this?
No, I think it's good. I think everybody should hunt that tournament. It sounds like it's professionally run and it's the real deal. So we'll have to jump into it too.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I'll be honest with you, it's really hard to get people to try new stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep people honest. It's not hard to keep honest people honest. That's the easiest thing. But we have been so blessed because we haven't had a lot of riffraff, and having knowing enough people in the industry, you kind of get to where you live at. You already know who the boys are that's going to try to do that. And so I've got sources that'll tell me, hey, if this guy calls you, just pay attention. And that has come into play a couple times,
for sure. Yeah.
So, but we really appreciate you being a guest.
So much.
Great conversation. First off.
Oh yes.
Felt like I was just, talking to my buddy, and I'm hoping we can have a friendship like this, and maybe we'll get to load up and come down there, and it'll be a little borrowed time of ourselves. Come down there and
there you go. You can actually show us what some real hog dogs look like then.
Listen, I got some pictures of some guys that's got them.
There you go.
It ain't from me, buddy.
Yeah.
We'd love to come visit with you, and the same goes hand in hand. You come to Alabama. We've got a little lease that's got some thunder chickens on it for sure.
There you go.
And we don't even turkey hunt. I don't turkey hunt, but we got a lot of turkeys where we're at.
Hey, we might have to take you up on that and shoot you some money to get up there and kill one.
Oh, you just come up here and we just shoot some good video.
Yeah.
There you go. We can do that.
As
long as
go ahead.
Yeah, we can. Well, we can definitely shoot some video. We're looking to shoot our slam next year, so we're looking to find a place to kill in Eastern. So
I got you. Well,
that's what y'all got. There you go. Yeah.
I mean, like, no joke, for real. We'll get more in depth on that, because on this I'll have a bunch of people calling.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, hey, if you don't go, I'll come up there. And all joking aside, there's only one person that turkey hunts any of our properties. One person, and that's it. And I'll be honest, that dude would be the first one to say, "Hey, I'll go with you. I'll call for you," or what, you know what I mean? He's super laid back. He don't get bent out of shape about nothing, which he shouldn't. You know, I mean, he's got it all to himself.
Heck yeah, that'll work. I wouldn't be upset either, for sure.
So
yeah. No, thank you guys so much for having me, and I love conversation, so I'm never scared to have one.
All right, my man. Well, Seth, we appreciate it. Hey, you guys out there, y'all make sure y'all check out Borrowed Time Outdoors. Y'all get with him if you want to go on a guided hunt. Check him out on social media. Y'all make sure to do the thing, because this guy's making quality stuff, quality content. With what, 3 dogs? So he's making more stuff than I am with 30 dogs. I don't even like you no more, Seth. My God. All right, brother.
Hey, you can have all 3 of mine. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
All right, my man. Well, we appreciate you, and until next time, we'll see you, buddy.
Thank you, Seth.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right, man. Bye bye.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Well, that was Mr. Seth there. That was pretty good. Real nice guy. And I wasn't joking, man. I don't know. I don't even know what I was doing today. I heard him in there hollering at that little bulldog. He was hollering, "Kid, you up, kid." I can't even do it so high pitch, you know. And I thought about Carter. You know how Carter used to do that. But like Seth was even higher pitched. And I said, "What is that?" And that's the one I told you about, the video where the hogs had lost so much weight. Yeah. So like, it was informational to me as well. So, I mean, he's putting out good content. Y'all make sure to check him out. And we're going to keep on trying to pound these damn podcast out for you guys.
Yes, sir.
And just keep them rolling. If y'all got any ideas for topics, or if you got questions, or if you got an idea for a good guest, y'all make sure you holler at us, contact us, and let us know. And, you know, we really appreciate Animal Housing Solutions. Spud is really become a fixture and a staple in the hog hunting community. Best kennels.
So glad to call him a friend.
I mean, he supports us 1,000%. We've got tons of other people that do it. Like I said, Spud, we haven't known him but just a couple years now, and it's just like you've known him all your life. And I just can't say enough good about him. And then, you know, we've got quite a few people that really support us like that. Of course, we got Boars N Broads, Uncle Pat, Randy Durrell, Jake Locano,
Hogband.com.
Yeah, I mean, they all own businesses and stuff like that, and we really appreciate them supporting us, because I mean, they take our content and they share it and they push it out there in the world. Scott Lanier, that's my brother right there.
Yes, indeed.
He is he is the most silent producer you've ever seen. He will put you out there in the best way possible. And if he's good with you, he's good with you. He's good with you forever.
That's right.
And I just want to holler back out at Noah and them boys we met out there at Abbeville. It was good to meet you boys, and we'll be down there in hog hunt with y'all sometime. And so until next time, y'all keep it right. If not, you'll be wrong.
See ya. See ya.